So it's going to be the Paladin versus the Shaman. I am apparently spectating Hanniballz, but his hand isn't showing just yet. May show after the mulligan. Blackout changing his lineup a bit. He has been on stream before, so if Hanniballz was watching his first game, he doesn't want to run a mirrored lineup in case he builds a lineup to defeat one of those classes. So this probably is face Shaman, but you never know, you could have mid-range Shaman. Mid-range Shaman was made. So, hand is not being shown for some reason. I'll just see if I can sort that out. Oh, it's just dropped me out. Sorry about this, guys. We do have these problems with the client. It's nothing that we can do about it. So I'm just trying to get the second hand for you, and there we go. So we have it, and it is a face Shaman. And straight away, the aggression is being mounted by this deck. So Mustafa Battle is going to deal with the Lepanome pretty easily. But he doesn't use the weapon to clear the Lepanome. And the reason is because this deck packs no healing, the Secret Paladin variations. He doesn't want to give Hanniballz any more damage to the face to help him find that lethal. So Flame Juggler does do its job and takes out a 1-1. But activates the Avenge in response. So now Hanniballz needs to decide, does he just go face or does he deal with this 4-3? It is a tough decision. I think I like going face simply because the hand that Hanniballz has is super aggressive. A lot of damage being mounted there. Knife Juggler into Haunted Creeper. So now the Secret Paladin is starting to develop that board, which will be very hard for the Shaman to deal with. And some great trade in there from Blackout, keeping as many minions on board as he can. So the issue Hanniballz has now is he wants to play Doomhammer next turn without a doubt. The problem is if he goes for the Feral Spirits, he won't be able to play Doomhammer, even if he uses a Lava Shock. So he needs to decide, does he Lava Shock the Knife Juggler, which I think he's going to go for. He does the Crackle first, so he can just unlock those Mana Crystals. And hits for 6. That's not bad at all. The Sludge Belcher is going to stop this Doomhammer from doing too much damage. So now Hanniballz has to deal with a Sludge Belcher, and he picks up the Rockbiter weapon. Powerful combination, as we know, deals incredible amount of damage. And Hanniballz is utilising these Lava Shocks very well, unlocking those crystals so he doesn't get overloaded for the next turn. And Blackout just going to empty his hand. The race is on. And although Blackout is lower on health, that Sludge Belcher is problematic. Lava Burst to hand, so he does have some extra burst. But this is going to demand 2 hits from the Doomhammer. And Comp Spirit's going to go off, and this buffs the board and makes it seriously threatening. And Blessing the Kings on top of that as well represents so much damage. This could potentially be lethal. I think it is. Yep, it's exactly lethal with that Blessing of Kings. So Blackout takes game number 1 with the Secret Paladin, and this Shaman could not race him. So as we know, this is Conquest format, guys, if you are just joining us, and the Secret Paladin has been used up. So Blackout can't play that deck again. However, we'll probably see the Phase Shaman again from Hanniballz in the future. So Blackout last time, I think I mentioned it was mid-range druid, aggro. Mid-range druid was his mid deck, his aggro deck was Zulok, and his control deck was warrior. So as I was saying, he ran that kind of mixture of archetypes in his first lineup he used at the start of the stream. This time he's kind of changed things up. He's added that Secret Paladin. So if he follows the same Conquest building formula as he did before, Secret Paladin would be his aggro deck. So he might pack, say, mid-range druid again. Maybe another control deck. We'll have to see. And yeah, mid-range druid. So druid will be going up against the shaman. Hanniballz wants to find a win with this deck. Bit of a slow start for Blackout there. Doesn't find, say, an Innovate and the Keeper of the Grove. They're like powerful combinations. Does find the Wild Growth, which will definitely help him, but the Mind Control tech, unless Hanniballz overcommits to the board, isn't going to get much mileage. Blackout just going to have to slam that Wild Growth and hope he finds those Innovates to cheat out this Ancient of Law. Big Game Hunter doesn't really get much mileage in this deck, so it might just come down as a body to challenge that 3-4. And Steady Shot from Finley, ouch. Goes for the swipe, so he wants an instant response to this damage. Recognizes that if he leaves things on board for too long, that damage is going to start piling up and it's going to become a major issue. But don't worry, love. The cavalry is here, and Hanniballz continues his aggressive stance. So the Mind Control tech does come down as just a body to challenge the minions on board. The hero power does dispatch of the Divine Shield, does take an extra 2 damage, but after that, using that swipe, he is going to have to get rid of that shield somehow. Flame Juggler is going to try and hit this for a trade. I don't mind the trade here, because the 2-1 is vulnerable to the hero power anyway, and the swipe. And now this is tremendous aggression coming from Hanniballz, but the second Mind Control tech comes off the top. What is he going to steal? Abusive Sergeant isn't brilliant, but it's something. It beats Finley, that's for sure. You definitely, the top pick there, I would say, is obviously the Flame Juggler for its stats, but following that up, you'd probably want the Leopard Gnome to stop that Death Rattle dealing extra damage to you. And Doomhammer comes down, and things are looking pretty tough for Blackout at this point. Down to 10 health. Does have an Ancient of Law to heal, and can deal with the board, but the damage is already being done here. A lot of burst in his hand. So now Hanniballz is just going to do the old face plan. Probably throw out that Lava Shock after Ancestral Knowledge, picking up that last bit of damage. I would have liked to have seen an Ancestral Knowledge first, in case he drew Rockbiter. But Lava Shock is going to unlock that Mana Crystal. So a missed lethal opportunity there for Hanniballz, but he should find the win unless an Ancient of War comes down. But Blackout doesn't have access to that card. And now, this should just be a win for Hanniballz. And Rockbiter is enough to close out this game. A very fast win for this Face Shaman. Blackout drops the concede. So tied at 1-1 by Hanniballz. Rank 15 in Europe, as I mentioned earlier. And of course Blackout, rank 61. Now Blackout has been part of the Hearthstone scene for as long as I can remember. I used to hang out with him in TeamSpeak back in when I was just a player, before I started all the casting stuff. Of course, we both go to Insomnia Gaming Festival, and he did win an Insomnia just before the True Silver Championship change. So he does have a big tournament under his belt. And of course, excuse me guys, of course, he lost to Green Sheep. Oh, bear with me, I was just sharp sting in my throat. So he lost to Green Sheep in DreamHack Valencia. So he got second place. He lost to his teammate, who's a fellow dig boy as well. But Blackout has that control deck, so he is going for the conquest strategy, which I discussed earlier. Control, aggro, mid-range. Hanniballz drops the second aggro deck, playing that Zulok. Hellfire is a big pickup for Blackout, and that Reno Jackson as well. Reno Jackson may very well keep him in the game if the board gets out of control. And a tap's going to come out from Blackout, you know, that slow line of play. He has no rush right now. There's nothing on the board that poses too much of a threat. This is quite a slow start for the zoo, but it's got a bit of insurance with that egg in case any Hellfires come down. If it was Flame Knife Juggler, for example, that's a little bit more urgent for Blackout. But Farseer is going to come down, top up his health, like nothing ever happened. Argus is a great play. Gets to Argus the two minions that haven't been taunted, which means his egg can be activated, but he can also deal with the Farseer with that Imp Gang boss. Oh, he actually doesn't hit the egg. I think I like this more, because he doesn't open the egg, let the egg be opened up. So Demon Wrath, another form of area of effect, but the only difference is against fellow Warlocks is not very effective. So is this a low feb turn? That's what I'm thinking. Hanniballz could play low feb just for the body alone and protect his board this turn. But does low feb find more use later on when your board is a lot more powerful? But he decides to just go for the low feb anyway. And now these Hellfires and whatnot cannot be used. Healbot seems fine. Just top the health right back up like nothing was ever happened. And 2 moments Blackout has managed to put himself back up to 29. And next turn he has access to Reno Jackson. I don't think he'll need it, but the more mana Blackout gets, the more powerful Reno Jackson Shadow Flame, for example, would be if he gets in a tight spot. And Hanniballz pops open the egg, maybe convinced that he hasn't got any big removal cards. Could go for Imp Gang Boss with the Haunted Creeper, but the only issue with that is if they get popped open, they'll be locking out the board. So I prefer just tap in and maybe just Flame Imp. Or maybe just Imp Gambos as well, on its own. I think I prefer Flame Imp. Oh, goes for the Haunted Creeper. So this is a board to be afraid of. But Blackout does have answers. Hellfire into Demon Wrath. And that is just clean. Easily dealt with. But Hanniballz draws into more fuel. He has access now to that Dark Peddler. Get some extra minions on board. And holding on to that Imp Gang Boss and Flame Imp also allows him to kind of make the board filled up once again. Demanding Blackout has an answer. So I think Blackout was worried about any Leroy shenanigans. And that's a fair thing to be worried about these days. Leroy being very popular in Zulok. Of course, Hanniballz didn't have access to it, but Blackout does have to play safe. But unless this Reno Jackson is cleared, it could be a threat as just a minion. Because Argus can taunt it up in combination with the Twilight Drake or maybe the Ink Gang Boss. It's still Shadow Flammable. So that's just things to consider. I'm going to go for an Implosion. Ooh, hits the 2. That's rough. Probably going to see a Soulfire just to tidy it up. And once again, Hanniballz has to try and take this health total down. Oh, Giant Shredder. Giant Shredder into Shadow Flame. Very nice combination. Clear the board, apart from one imp, and get a minion of your own. 8 mana Giant. Could just come down here. If he taps, he needs to find another 1-drop. No, that doesn't even work either, I don't think. So just the A8. So now Blackout could tap to find a big game hunter or a Siphon Soul. If he doesn't get it, Ink Gang Boss into Argus will create enough of a barrier against this giant from going face. Oh, Argus, nice draw. Is he going to use it? And he definitely is. Fortunately for Blackout, he does have what he needs. Oh wow, Owl's a great draw as well. Can owl that spider. It's no longer a threat. 1 power overwhelming. Will be able to clear up this giant with no problem. And that spider is dispatched very easily with that silence. And now Hanniballz needs to find more threats to play, as Blackout is starting to sustain in this matchup and control the board. So do you play Gormak as a 4/4? Are you ever going to have a situation where you develop that many minions? I think we've seen 2 implosions. But Gormak is held on to. Doesn't even want to tap just in case of any Leroy shenanigans. And now Hanniballz has to fight a giant of Blackouts, the Molten variations. Oh, there is another implosion, so he can maybe activate Gormak. If he gets a 4 on the giant and then just rolls Gormak straight off it, That'd be pretty impressive. Has to go for the gamble. Blackout only needs 1 more damage to finish this game. Doesn't get the 4. And Blackout takes game number 3. Taking a 2-1 lead. So Blackout is close to winning the series. He is on match point. And that Reno Jackson lock. Being able to fight back because of all the area of effect removal he had available to him. But now he has to play his Druid, which is never a bad thing usually, having Druid last, but he does queue up to the bad matchup, the Zulok. And of course we don't know what else Hanniballz has. So if Hanniballz is maybe packing a Patron Warrior, it could be quite tough for Blackout, but we'll have to see. He'll probably just throw the Warlock back in just to find that win. And I am correct. So Hanniballz is going to try and get a win with the Zulok and then finish off the series with his last mystery deck. Not a terrible hand for Blackout. Does have some removal. An Innovate would have been so much better than, say, maybe the Swipe. No, actually, Innovate would probably be better than the Wrath, because if you're going to Innovate out, I keep it on 2. Caster's Curse is an Innovate. So if I guess a Flame Imp probably will come down here. Could go just Flame Imp Voidwalker, or just Flame Imp on his own, play Knife Juggler. But yeah. So now the Knife Juggler isn't safe to play. He goes for the Imp Gambos instead, something a bit more stable. Could see a Living Roots go down on the Imp, and then you can run the 2/4 into him. He generates 2 Imps. Could Wrath to cycle, but the Wrath probably has more value just killing a minion. And Hero Power will clear up one of those Imps, only leaving 1 guy alive, so only 1 more damage needed to clear up this Keeper, but he keeps him out of range just for now. So a wealth of minions in Hanniball's hands to use. Oh, will the dagger hit it? And it does. It's a nice dagger there from the Knife Juggler. Allowing that Imp to clear up the Keeper of the Grove. Shredder straight off the top. That's how you play Druid, guys. Get that 4-drop when you need it. And now this is the point in the game where the Zulok will take control. Well, Blackout does have some responses. He does have that Swipe. He does have that Wrath as well. Can just Wrath the Knife Juggler, clear the 1/3, and maybe be able to pop open either the Egg or the Spiders next turn. Or just go for a full board clear. But as we know, Hanniballz does have an Argus, which is going to be very strong. Might even use the Spider first to pop open the Shredder. And then could Power Overwhelming the Egg if he needs to clear it. And then Argus the 2 1/1s. I don't mind that. That just goes this way, that's fine too. I don't think the Flame Tongue Totem presents too much of a threat, especially on the empty board. And it does make stuff like Lothar vulnerable to Big Game Hunter, which Zuloks have ran, so... now there's that too. And Gormot getting that value it didn't find last time. Ancient of Lore will recharge Blackout, but it's still going to be a tough game going forward, especially with these many bodies on board. But there's the combo in Thorson, so maybe a combination of Thorson and a couple more turns of Blackout may be able to find a win. He still needs to punch through these taunts, and the one problem he has is Hanniballz has everything he needs to deal with any minion that's played. And he's just found his burst damage as well, so that's 12 damage. Oh well, the power of overwhelming's gone now. But here we go, he can deal with the 5-5, gets a 4-4 out of it, plays an Imp Gang boss. It's just, I think it's lights out for Blackout, unless he can find a way to clear these guys. TC, what's he going to get? Gets the taunt. Kind of want a 4-4, or a 2-4, but beggars can't be choosers in this situation. So Blackout trying to work out, can he go for the ping face to get the combo next turn? But just goes for the silence, and a combination of Leroy and Abusive will be 8 damage. So that is going to be game, and Hanniballz is going to tie it up 2-2. So Hanniballz wins a good matchup with that Zoolock. And let's see what he has last. So I'm going to make a prediction. I think Hanniballz is going to bring Druid, and we're going to have the Druid mirror as well. So, yeah, I'd rather him not bring Druid personally, but he's played a very aggressive lineup. Maybe he'll play Face Hunter. I'll have to see, but no, I am right. It's a Druid. Why wouldn't you pick Druid at the moment? So the good old-fashioned Druid mirror. Not a terrible hand. I would throw away maybe Savage Draw, Swipe, and Druid of the Claw. Try and find that Innovate. Try and find that Wild Growth. Hanniballz already has that Innovate, but he needs to decide how valuable is playing a Living Roots. And I wouldn't have kept Living Roots personally, because you don't want to innovate. Well, play Living Roots on one, and then if you don't draw into any minions, that Innovate may never be used. But Blackout goes for a full keep. Very interesting. So even after throwing away the Living Roots, the Living Roots come back to haunt him. So this is going to be a slow start for these players. No Wild Growth from either side. Blackout can just hero power away at what he wants at this point. Innovate Drake wouldn't be too bad. And might draw into a Shredder. Gives you 2 draws then to find that 4-drop. 2 Ancient of Lores. They may come in handy later. But Coin Swipe is going to deal with this Drake. And no 4-drops so far for Hanniballz. So Blackout does have the initiative required to Shredder, unless a 4-drop came for Hanniballz, but it didn't. He does have a 5-drop going into turn 5. But Hero Power pass on turn 4 is not a situation you want to be in with Druid. So now the bodies start coming down. We're getting into the mid-range part of the fight for these two players. So has Wrath Swipe available, but wants to Wrath the Shredder first. Might just go for a ping with the Keeper of the Grove. Yeah, it looks like that's going to be... I could go for a swipe. Yeah, I think swipe's fine. You clear the whole board this way. Forson hit some pretty good stuff there, Savage Roar being the key one. So now Blackout only has to draw that Force of Nature, and then he's got 22 damage in hand, just sitting there. Hanniballz wants to play that Ancient of Law, but he can't leave Forson alive. So we're probably going to see a ping come down on this Forson. And then Druid of Claw is going to feel bad and throw himself at Forson. You don't leave a very strong board left over. That's the only problem. You just leave a 2-4 on board. And then going into turn 7, Blackout has had so many things hit by Forson. It's pretty bad. It looks like Force of Nature is going to come down. And I can see why. It's just like a 2-4 alone isn't enough. A Druid of the Claw will be great. A lot better. Gets to push that 4 damage as well. The Forson lines up this play beautifully. Blackout gets the 5-5. And I can just Wrath that bear away, which was protected from that force by that Force of Nature. So Blackout is just waiting for this Force of Nature to come off. Now Dot the Boom of his own. Plays the Azure Drake, finds another Azure Drake. Has access to the Mega Swipe, but it's not going to need it. Decides to go for the card draw. Again, digging for that Force of Nature, so that's in his hand now. I like this. Very well played from Blackout. That just lines up absolutely perfectly. And every time, Boombots just kill Azure Drakes. I swear, Azure Drakes are Boombot magnets. When an Azure Drake survives a Boombot, I am genuinely shocked. That Azure Drake is a god among dragons. But unless this Ancient of Law can be cleared, that is going to be it. Blackout has so much damage in hand. I don't think there's anything he can do. He hasn't got enough mana. Didn't have access to the Druid of the Claw either. So Blackout's going to be going into the semi-finals with that 3-2 victory. Unless I've got this wrong. No. I might have been a bit preemptive with that scoreboard. I thought Living Roots would be enough. But Living Roots isn't. Didn't do my maths, I apologise. But Low Feb, you know, he's pretty much going to seal this game. The trade alone is going to lock out any potential comebacks from Hanniballz. Keeping those 1-1s up as well. So the swipe can be played, but only the swipe. Might just see a Druid of the Claw come down. Maybe ping one of the 1-1s with the Keeper of the Grove.
Where shall I strike?
Yeah. But I don't think that's going to be enough, unfortunately. The combo alone represents 22 damage, not even including the minion on board. So, a bit preemptive of me there, updating the scoreboard, but Blackout still takes it. And he will be going to the semi-finals. And he's going to have the pleasure of smacking his opponent in the face with those trees. So that is it for that game. Blackout continues his rampage through the bracket. So we're going to go to another break, try and find the next game for you guys, and I'll be back as quick as possible. So don't go anywhere. Be back soon.